All right. Well, hello, my name's Michelle Davidson, and I have the great honor of running the industry directors here at NetSuite, and I'll be kicking off the event for today. And a big thank you to IHA for hosting us to speak to the community. Today's chat, Revolutionizing Housewares, a member case study, we'll be chatting with Honey Can Do CEO and founder Steve Greenspon, who is your immediate past chairperson for IHA, brings over 30 years of industry experience, and who for fun is a triathlete and currently training for a marathon in February. Good luck to you, Steve. We'll be covering their business journey and how they were able to thrive as their business experience growth. At the end, we'll show a quick demo and then loop back for questions and answers. Feel free, by the way, to type any of your questions into the chat and we'll answer them along the way as well. Before jumping in, for those of you who aren't familiar with NetSuite, NetSuite is the first cloud ERP founded over 20 years ago. We have more than 37,000 customers in more than 217 countries across the globe. We've been helping companies in the houseware space with everything from managing multi-order step fulfillment, enabling real-time visibility, elevating the manufacturing process, and ensuring a robust omni-channel experience. As a reminder, IHA members also have exclusive access to NetSuite discounts, so be sure to reach out if you'd like to take advantage of those. At this point, I believe there's a 40% off of the starter edition, and just to reach out to us and we can talk to you about the details of what that is for you. A few housekeeping items before we get started. Today's event is being recorded. All lines will be muted during today's event. We'll leave time for questions at the end, so please submit your questions in the chat and throughout, and we'll circle back at the end of the interview. Sound good? And Steve, I think you're the only one who can hear me anyway, so sound good to you?
Sounds good to me.
Great. So to kick us off, Steve, can you give us a brief background on yourself and the company? Let's start with what your company does and how you guys began.
Of course. So Honey Can Do, we're a leading brand of home storage, organization, and laundry care products. Think of things like shelving units, laundry hampers, trash bins, coat hangers, drying racks, and related items. We sell almost exclusively through retailers, both large and small, and major brands, primarily in the US and Canada, though a wide range of over 40 countries. And we are fairly vertically integrated with a warehouse in the US, here in the Chicago area, product designers in-house, and a full staff of team members in China, Taiwan, and Vietnam.
Awesome. And I recall in speaking to you, you said you founded your company in 2007. Can you give us a little background on your vision and mission for your company?
Yeah, of course. So prior to that, I had been in a company in the plumbing and bath space. I sold my 1/3 share of that company and used those proceeds as seed money to start Honey Can Do. Had just wanted to start a company where folks were respectful towards each other, whether they're working together or for other stakeholders such as vendors and customers, do things in a common sense, appropriate way, and have fun doing it. What's nice about Honey Can Do is we've got what we call a no turkey policy, or no jerk policy, the vernacular, where we're around people that we want to be with, and good coworkers that we enjoy being around, and that was always a key for starting a company.
That's awesome. And to this point, when you started up in 2007, what's your size and or position in the market now?
We consider ourselves to be a market leader within our categories, very strong on the e-commerce side of the industry specifically. We have just under 100 employees in the US, China, Taiwan, and Vietnam.
That's awesome. So international for sure. So speaking of which, that means your use case of NetSuite and evaluation of NetSuite would actually be pretty interesting because you have multi-facets. Not only is it local to the United States, but you also have to adhere to some international standards, correct?
Absolutely. And that was a key part of the decision in choosing a new ERP and why NetSuite. was a leading candidate from the start. Being cloud-based and having to access the ERP from multiple countries and worrying about the different firewalls and time of day, and always being up, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week due to the different time zones was certainly a key factor as well. So it was very important for us. We couldn't be down, certainly not in the U.S. time zones, but not over the weekends and not over the evenings as well, just because our teams in Asia are live.
Absolutely. I usually like to describe to customers that our system allows you to run 24/7. So you don't have to actually have the labor force behind it, but rather a system that'll make everyone feel like they have 24/7 support.
Absolutely. Yeah. Prior to going with NetSuite, it was an issue with our ERP would go down, and we were hosting it live on site. And obviously, it wasn't something that you knew in advance. And whenever it went down, our entire team would just be standing around. We operate our own warehouse, so we couldn't pick or ship or receive or do anything while it's down. Our salespeople, our product people, nobody could function while the ERP was down. That was a key, was just to move it to the cloud and have it be live at all times. And that has, since we went live with NetSuite right around a year ago, we have not been down for any time during that period.
Great. And talk to me about that ERP evaluation, because I'm sure some of your partners here are wondering, gosh, that's an overtaking. So what did that look like for you?
Yeah, so we actually did it. I'll say an expensive way, and we a pretty thorough way as well. Is we hired an outside company, well respected, to help with the RFQ process. We did a pretty formal RFQ. We started out with a fairly long list of ERPs to evaluate. We narrowed it down to I believe 5 different systems where we did the demos and had the meetings and evaluated them and did checkoffs of who could hit which items on the RFQ. Functionality was obviously the key to it, but we also wanted to partner with a company that we felt like understood our business, understood our industry, understood our company, that we would have support, who was kind of native to the cloud and not somebody and not a company and not a piece of software that kind of started out elsewhere and then chose to be in the cloud after that. We kept coming back throughout the entire process to NetSuite. It just checked all of the boxes. And in addition, I spoke to a number of people in the industry that had done the conversion in NetSuite, and we're all happy with the results that they've had with it. In addition to what you mentioned with being in the cloud and always being available, cybersecurity was a key component towards our decision. We had a cyber hacking event several years ago, and I will tell you, I'm thankful to be on the other side of that, and I never want to go through that again. And for middle market companies, as much as you do your best to thwart that, you're not going to have the same resources as an Oracle or a company that's in the cloud. So I feel comfortable getting to sleep every night, knowing that in that regard it's not an issue. I have many other issues, but that's certainly helping me sleep at night.
So it sounds like it gives you back a little bit of that rest that you were needing as you're working and driving this company, as well as all the other different endeavors that you also pursue.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that you guys had some problems, obviously, and that makes sense. Self-hosting, that means that you now take on that responsibility. You had mentioned that the system would go down. Were there any other issues or things that you were experiencing from a technical or an industry angle, as far as what was not happening with your previous software and what led to NetSuite for you?
Yeah, of course. And I want to stress our former ERP system. It was a good system, and it got us to a certain point. We started with that as a startup, and it was kind of an all around unit, but it did things well enough, but it wasn't best in class in any area. It wasn't it didn't have a lot of installations, so we had a hard time hiring people with experience on that ERP system, which was an issue. We also, when we went to market, and let's say, for example, we wanted to find a best-in-class WMS warehouse management system, or a best-in-class cash remittance module, or a best-in-class payables module, we couldn't do it with that system because these outside providers just weren't doing it for our system because the installs weren't wide enough. With NetSuite, there are so many users in so many different industries all around the world that it's not an issue, and you have many, many choices. If you want a WMS, if you want any of these other modules that you could add on, report writers, data processing, anything, you can find it and have a pretty good range of options as well. And that's been fantastic with NetSuite.
That's great to hear, especially since I run the team that we focus on industry and how we serve the different industries and the rules and regulations. So it's always nice to hear that we're all doing our jobs together properly to make sure you guys have the right solution in front of you.
Absolutely. And going back to the process of choosing the new ERP, this is something that I'm glad we did it, but I don't want to ever do it again. So what's exciting with NetSuite is that you have companies on it that are multi-billion-dollar companies. And I just feel like as Honey Can Do continues to grow, this is going to be something that we can grow with.
Steve, you stole the words right out of my mouth, which is where we talked about the past. Let's talk about the future. How is your company able to grow with NetSuite? And can you expand a little bit on some of those plans that you might have?
Yeah, of course. So it's exciting. It's always been part of our DNA at Honey Can Do to grow. What we're certainly investing in the future and looking at things. We've since we went live with NetSuite, we added on a great report writer and outside piece of software to it, which was a fairly easy add-on in order to get great reporting and on-time real-time numbers, which is something that we didn't have in the past. And that's fantastic. And continue investing in things along the way. Our EDI system is certainly something that we're always going to be working to improve and add on to as we do that. Certainly, we're always bringing out innovative and exciting new products to the marketplace, and just finding ways to best support our retail customers is something that we're always going to continue to invest in and do. As part of our NetSuite upgrade, we added on a tier one warehouse management system. And once again, that integration went very well. And we're so excited by the improvements that we've made in the warehouse with new efficiencies and capacity in the time that we've been live with NetSuite, and just have a long list of things to do that are going to keep us busy for the next few years of ways to continue to grow in that area and just be better.
That's great. We've actually talked a lot about like the top level, right? Seeing what NetSuite brings to you as a leader and how you run your business. I guess don't ever ask a question that you don't want the answer to, but what about your employees? Have they seen the benefit, and how is their adoption of the software solution?
Yeah, it was fairly easy. We spent a lot of time training and getting ready. And what was interesting as part of the process that we went through was we spoke with every single employee in the company. And when I say that, obviously the CFO and the VPs and the leadership groups, but also we went to somebody that might be handling our payables, or somebody that's even driving a forklift and picking orders throughout the company, and just finding out how do they interact with our ERP system and what processes do they go through. We shadowed people within the company, and instead of saying, well, we've always done it this way, so let's find an ERP that'll do things the way that we've always done them, we decided to work with NetSuite and the integration team, and find out how we can improve our processes and our practices. And the feedback that we've gotten is that things that may have taken an extended period of time before, now it's just been reduced tremendously. Talking with our payables clerk, for instance, and some of her processes, something that may have taken 20 minutes 2 years ago. Now she's doing multiple transactions at the same time through batches, and it's being done in seconds. So it's been tremendously helpful. The team is able to, what's nice is they're able to take on additional tasks, increase capacity, get their work done more efficiently, and we're able to focus on things that'll help us grow, focus on our customers, focus on new products, and focus on being a better company.
That's great. And as far as new products, anything exciting yet to announce, or do we have to keep that locked up, Steve?
No, that's the Inspired Home Show, aka the Chicago Housewares Show, is going to be coming up in March. We've got a lot of new exciting items planned. I'll say just within the category, some new shelving units, some new drying racks. Kitchen org is an area that's been growing for us recently as well, and a big focus on back to campus and helping college students out with organizing their dorm rooms and helping them get their laundry done.
Yes, I could use that help as well. So let me know, just teasing.
Of course.
Um, you seem to have done a very thorough job in your evaluation, your choice of a system, which has really led to you hitting some of the milestones. Any advice for companies as they embark on changing systems, or, as people are listening to our coffee talk here, what words of wisdom would you share with them that they could maybe save some money and or headache?
Yeah, it's a huge decision. So I would say, one, make sure that you want to do this, and that I heard the term "the juice is worth the squeeze," because this is a huge endeavor that you'll be doing, and make sure that you understand the benefits of doing it. Once you've done it, I would say talk to companies that have done it and what was important to them and when they went through it. When you're planning your budget, both for resources involved and for funds, of course, I would say plan on it being over budget. We thought we had plenty of padding in there for both the timing and the funds. And we just found a way to go over that, and from what I understand, it's not uncommon. And that was because as we as we went along the way, and we got more excited about it, we said, "Oh, what about this? And should we do that? And what about this?" And it's all good things and positive things, but we certainly went over budget through the process. I would say use it as a time to improve your company and improve your processes throughout, and don't just look at it as a way to continue to do the same things that you've always been doing, because you might have habits there that might be many years old, and your team has always done it that way, but they can certainly be improved upon. And I know that I'm not involved on a day-to-day basis of what everybody in the company is doing in terms of getting things done. I know our incoming receivables, we do the application. I know that our payables get paid. I know that we're picking and packing orders in the warehouse. But until this, I never took the time to really stand over somebody's shoulder and say, "Oh, you're doing it this way. Is there a way to do it that way?" And save some time, and maybe do a focus, and maybe add some capacity, and do it. And this entire process gave us a chance to step back and make all sorts of improvements in the company.
That's very thoughtful advice, Steve. Actually, it's some of the same advice I give to people all the time as they're evaluating ERP. What's your appetite and what's your real reason? Because you're going to flesh it out pretty quickly, whether or not this is worth the time. The process improvement, like you said, as well as, do you have a partner? And that is the difference with NetSuite. You get a relationship with us, good, bad, or indifferent. But what we try to do is make sure you focus on your business so that we can help you actually just run your business on the software side. You should not be getting into software. You should be trying to do exactly what Steve is doing, getting to the next level and having the visibility to make the best business decisions possible, especially in this economy today.
Absolutely. Yeah, and thank you for pointing that out. I mean, this is so integral to a company, your partner on the ERP side, that it has to be a partnership. It's not the same as hiring your trash hauler, if I could use that example, who, if it doesn't work out, it's no big deal. You negotiate a better price. This is, for lack of a better term, almost a professional marriage, where you're there and you both need each other, and it's really hard to undo it if things don't work out. I will say that we've been happy with the support from NetSuite. We've been able to communicate with the appropriate folks there, and they've taken the time to listen to us, get to know us, and it's been a great relationship even after the honeymoon ended.
Right? I was going to say, you meet lots of us throughout the process, and you don't even realize how many cousins or different people of your software family you now have added. Speaking of
Absolutely.
which, it looks like we do have a question, and then I'll pass it on to our demo. We just have a bit of time, but one of the questions was, how long was the implementation process once NetSuite was decided on? And how many modules out of the box were robust enough?
So I want to say, so the total process from the time that we said, let's take a look at a new ERP and see if this makes sense for us, until the go live, was 2 years. And don't get scared by that. From the time that we decided on NetSuite, I'm going to say that was probably about 18 months. However, we purposely wanted to go live in February, because that's our slowest time of the year. That's when we thought there would be the least amount of disruption. And so we were probably ready before, we were ready to go live before then, but we certainly didn't want to do that during the back to school season or during the holidays or the fourth quarter. And January in storage and organization is always a fairly busy month. So we purposely decided to put that out. And we certainly use that time well for training and getting
Process
ready
management and
and doing
reassessment,
things.
right?
So that worked out well. Out of the box, our goal at go live was to be able to accept orders and ship and receive and be able to function as a company, get cash in and apply it and pay our bills. So we didn't really do anything real fancy. And I will say, we also, on day one, because we needed it to function, we also integrated our warehouse management system, and
Ooh,
that adds, as you're aware, complication versus doing a straight ERP to the process. So I would say, out of the box, we were fully functional on NetSuite. There was a fair amount of programming involved, and we worked with our integration partner just kind of around the processes and what we needed and everything else to be ready to go live. But and every company needs that. NetSuite is involved in so many different industries and categories that I don't think any company can just plug it in and be ready to go. But
yeah,
we
every
support
case
it
is
on
going
the
to
way.
be different. And from
Yep.
a consultant standpoint, right? Whether it works for NetSuite or someone else, once you go through the evaluation, you then create the steps of what makes sense. Do we go full big bang? Do we just do accounting first? Do we do accounting and warehouse management and do it all, which is what Steve did? We help you set up for success on what makes sense. And I do understand some of the outliers of that question as well. Depending, we do have standard modules, but depending on your requirements, we might also then switch to different SKUs. You don't need to worry about that. You tell us what your issues are. We will figure that out for you and put that in.
Yeah, and I
Plus,
will say, I've talked to other NetSuite users that didn't have their own warehouse, that might have been smaller companies with fewer SKUs and less, I don't want to say complications, but kind of a different type of business within the housewares industry. And they were live. I want to say, I heard about one company that went live in 5 to 6 months from when they made the
yes,
decision.
it can
So
be as quick
every
as
company.
30 days all the way up to whatever, as long as it takes. And typically it's a two-way street. What happens, and Steve covered it, is you're typically going to have to look at your processes, or we're putting in those bad processes into a new system. So it's some of those things that where he's saying budget changes or things like that. It's like getting a car, is what I say. I go in with a budget, and then, of course, I see the extra bells and whistles and the extra screen that I don't need in my car, or the extra button that I can touch so I don't have to lift a finger. Same kind of difference, but we will help you through that. And that
Absolutely.
being said, we've spent a lot of time talking about it, but I bet some of you probably want to actually see what it looks like and what we're talking about. So let me pass this over to Jenny on our team. And what we're going to do is actually show you a demonstration of our solution. And Steve, thank you so much for answering these questions for me.
No, it's truly an honor, Michelle. I appreciate the invite. I know that normally they only invite smart and attractive people to these webinars to be guests. So I appreciate you making an exception. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, NetSuite and IHA.
Awesome. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this NetSuite demonstration. My name is Ranger King. I'm a solution consultant here at NetSuite. My background is in procurement and warehouse management for the military. I was in the Army for about 5 years before coming here to NetSuite. And today I want to talk to you about how NetSuite can help streamline your business, help increase efficiency, specifically around a few areas that we've seen to be issues in the industry, and that's financials, customer management, and inventory management. So the screen you're looking at here is the NetSuite dashboard. When you log in to NetSuite, this is a screen you'll be greeted with. It's important to note that using Suite Success, our delivery methodology, this is very similar to a screen that would come out of the box. Now, these dashboards are role-based, just like NetSuite, meaning that when you log in, you'll be assigned a role or multiple roles, and the role you have selected is going to determine your levels of permissions and access, as well as your dashboard screen. If you're somebody that wears multiple hats in the company and needs multiple roles, you can simply select your role from your drop-down box, which is going to change those levels of permissions as well as your dashboard. So you're able to conveniently flip back and forth between different processes and focus on what tasks you're trying to accomplish at that time. Now, the NetSuite dashboard, as you can see here, has multiple different portlets, the white boxes. They can be anything from navigation tools to reports, KPIs, or a reminders tab, which is like a digital checklist to help you accomplish your tasks. These portlets can all be configured. You can change the layout, you can add portlets, or you can go to setup or remove to take them away. Setup allows you to configure the individual portlets. So for example, the KPIs, I can click the X to take them away, or click add to add additional KPIs to the list. Now, because NetSuite is a unified platform, meaning all of your data exists in one location, these numbers are not just summary level data, they're not just snapshot data, they're actually links to give you more information about where that number comes from. So if I click on my sales number here, NetSuite will open up a sales by customer summary report where I can see exactly where that total comes from. It's broken down into my different customers and dollar amounts, and I can even continue to drill down into that to see where the 30,000 for a specific customer Smith Supply score comes from. So now it's opening up a report that shows me all my individual transactions. I can click into those to view them individually. And from there, I could even drill down further into the items, into the customer, whatever I'm interested in looking at that time. This sales by customer report is what we call a NetSuite standard report or an out-of-the-box report. There's several hundred of these, but the important thing to note here is that those several hundred reports are just starting points. You can continue to configure and customize these reports to your needs. First, of course, you can change the date range. So if I were to change this to include a couple more months and click refresh, of course, I'm going to have a lot more data in it because I've expanded the range. I can also sort and filter these by subsidiary. NetSuite excels in managing multiple subsidiaries in a single instance. So you can see a headquarters or a consolidated view, or break it up by individual subsidiaries to see your financials, inventory, whatever report you're working with to a specific subsidiary. An important note there is you don't have to log in and out to multiple instances of NetSuite. As long as you have permissions to view multiple subsidiaries, you're able to do it with one single instance of NetSuite. In addition to that, we can also break our reports out by general ledger segments. So Out-of-the-box examples are department and location, which are fairly self-explanatory, as well as class, which could be different channels or different product lines. So if I select class and click refresh, I'm now looking at a sales by customer broken down into multiple different product lines. I still maintain my drillability. I can go into the individual transactions, but now they're going to be filtered to a specific product line. So NetSuite makes it very easy to sort and filter your financial data by subsidiary, department, location, or class. And if you want to filter it even more specifically, you can utilize the Customize button and sort or filter this data by any field that exists on those records. So any metric or data point that you're capturing on your invoices, you can sort and filter your reports by utilizing the Customize button. NetSuite also allows you to easily export these reports to Excel, PDF, or Word. You can print or email these reports. And we also have a handy scheduling tool that can allow you to send these reports out on a recurring basis. So if you want to receive a report every Monday morning, you can simply select Monday, include the users or emails that you want to receive this report, and it will automatically be generated and sent out on that date and time every week. These tools can really help you manage your financials by giving you an extra level of flexibility around your reporting, being able to sort your revenue based on customers, based on items, based on specific attributes, will give you a next level understanding of your data, and it's all within a single platform. Another topic that comes up a lot in the industry is customer management. And you'll see I'm actually able to drill into a customer directly from this report. That's one way to navigate to it. I could also use my recent records to open up anything I've recently had open, or I could utilize the global search bar and search Smith and pull up a customer that way. However you navigate to it, the customer record is a way for NetSuite to assist in a few different things. Number one is automating downstream data entry. All of the information that's stored on the customer record can be used downstream when inputting transactions to keep you from having to duplicate manual entries. Some examples are the customer billing and shipping address. Instead of typing those in every time you transact with a customer, you save it once on the customer record, choose a default, and it's going to automatically populate that field for you. Now, NetSuite can easily accommodate multiple billing, multiple shipping addresses. That's not a problem. But for the instances where it's usually a single address or it defaults to an address more often than not, it can save you that entry. And even if they do use multiple addresses, it's just a drop-down selection because the information is already saved on the customer record. Additionally, the customer record can house information around their financials, things like their terms, their credit limits, and price levels. So if your customers do have price levels, this can keep you from having to manually consult price lists, type in pricing when items are added to a transaction. NetSuite knows what their price level is. It will consult the item record for the base price and input that for you so that you're not having to manually enter that. It can also do this for specific items. So if you have a negotiated price with a customer and every time they purchase this item, it's going to be a specific price, you can simply define that here. And again, NetSuite will consult the record and input that data for you when you're transacting. And you can also see here that NetSuite is storing dynamically their credit information, things like overdue balances, unbilled orders, and their current balance. You don't have to manually keep track of that. As you transact with a customer, these numbers are updated. And if a customer happens to exceed their credit limit, or if a transaction would cause them to exceed their credit limit, NetSuite will give you a warning so that you can make a decision whether or not to move forward with that transaction. In addition to helping automate things downstream, the customer record also houses historical data so you can have a full understanding of your customer. For example, under the communication tab, you can see all of your recent emails that have been sent or received from NetSuite to the customer, things like their fulfillment notifications, order receipts, and invoices can all be referenced under the communication tab. You can always pull open an email and see what was sent to the customer, when it was sent, if it was replied to, and any attachments that were included with that email. And in addition, the communication tab also allows you to track activities, things like meetings, phone calls, touch points with the customer, as well as any files that you want to attach that are relevant to that customer. This can help in situations where you need to change sales reps or cover for a sales rep that it's not in the office. Anyone can come to the customer record. They have the proper permissions and get a full understanding of all the latest communication with the customer, as well as any tasks or meetings that are upcoming. Next, we will also track transactional history. Under the Customer 360 tab, I can see some summary level data of orders, returns, and then dollar amounts for the year or previous year. And then you can see I have several other metrics here as well, including open sales orders, top items sold, and items that this customer has returned. Again, just a one-stop place for you to see a holistic view around a customer. And each customer record in NetSuite does also include a dashboard view that you can click into, and you'll notice it looks a lot like your home dashboard, everything already being filtered down to that customer. So you've got some of those same reports. They're just as drillable as the previous report we looked at, but everything is filtered to a customer to save you from having to make those adjustments. As soon as you open up this customer dashboard, you get full information around the financials pertaining to that customer. So the NetSuite customer record helps automate things downstream. It helps prevent duplicate entry, and that can help with errors as well, reducing those errors that come with manual entry. And it gives you a good holistic view of your customer as well. Things like case management become a lot easier when a customer calls, and you can open up a record like this that shows their recent purchases, recent returns, the size of the account, all those kind of things can help manage customer expectations and give them a better experience. Now, another hot topic in the industry is inventory and item management. Very similar to the customer record, we can pull open an item record and see not only historical information, how much we're buying and selling of an item, and not just the same kind of downstream automation that we had with the customer record, but also some tools to assist in pricing, stock levels, and vendor management. So around pricing, there's a few tools. Number one, NetSuite is going to dynamically calculate your item costs based on your costing method, your purchases, or if you're a manufacturer, your manufacturing process. We'll also show you your last purchase price, which may differ from your cost. This goes hand in hand with the sales and pricing tab, where you can define your list price for an item, as well as the price associated with each one of your different price levels. So again, this is how NetSuite understands when you're transacting with a customer, what the price should be based on that customer's price level. We can also manage multiple vendors with the item record. So there's no need to define an item multiple times in NetSuite because you buy it from multiple vendors. That's a problem that we see a lot in the industry. With NetSuite, you utilize one single master item record where you can define your multiple vendors, the different names, if the vendor has a different name or code for the item, and different prices for each vendor. So it can really help manage your items a lot more smoothly when you don't have to have duplicate entries because you're buying a same item from multiple vendors. Instead, you can just keep it all in one single record. Now, the item record itself is also configurable, and this is true of the customer record as well. But you can change these fields, add or take away fields in a way that's helpful to you. For example, I have 3 fields here called product attribute 1, 2, and 3. If these aren't useful to you, you can take them away. If you want to call them something else, you can change the name, or you can always add as many fields as necessary to help define your items to a useful level. All of these fields, whether they're custom or out of the box, can be used on those reports when you're customizing them, like we talked about earlier. Now, if you are a manufacturer and you produce goods using components, there's a few tools on the item record that can help with that. Number one, under item 360, you can see your work order status, see all the different work orders in process and what % they are. And the item tab or the item record is also where you're going to be housing bill of materials and routings. Now, some important things about NetSuite bill of materials and routings is, number one, you can have multiple. So as you can see here, I have a list of multiple bill of materials. I have a master default. One of them is a default for a specific location. These allow you flexibility in defining your bill of materials. We understand that you're not always going to be utilizing the same component list every time you build an item. Extraneous factors like third-party manufacturers, availability and cost can all cause you to use alternate bill of materials. Again, instead of defining multiple different item records, we just allow you to utilize multiple bill of materials or routings on a single item record. And then at time of production, choose which particular bill of materials you're going to be utilizing. Now, the last thing I'll talk about on the item record is stock levels, keeping items in stock. And NetSuite has a lot of tools to help you do this correctly without overstocking or running low or running out of stock. One example is the NetSuite reorder points, minimums and maximums, where once you get below a certain stock level, NetSuite will automatically recommend purchase orders or work orders to bring you back up to your maximum. And these can also be automatically calculated. So NetSuite can look at your transaction history, determine what the optimal stock level is, and set those reorder points for you dynamically so you don't have to manage them manually. And NetSuite can also utilize a master production scheduling or an MRP to help take into account all of your sources of demand and all of your sources of supply out to a certain horizon. It will reconcile the two, and it will generate actions and exceptions for you. So purchase orders, transfer orders, and work orders to make sure your supply is meeting your demand, as well as looking out to the future to make sure that you're not overstocking or understocking. So just like the customer record, the item record gives you a lot of historical information. It automates things downstream, but then it does also provide those tools to help manage multiple vendors, manage your stock levels, and manage production as well. Now, NetSuite has multiple different levels of reporting that are pertinent to all three of the topics we've discussed: finances, customers, and inventory. Some of the most popular out-of-the-box reports around these are, of course, your income statement and balance statement. Under items, things like profitability, your valuation, and turnover, all popular reports, and your current inventory snapshot, which is a holistic view of all of your inventory across locations, current on hand, available, on order, things like that. And then under customers, of course, you can sort all of your financial data out by customers, or sort your customers out by sales reps, territories. You can, of course, filter your AR, aging, and register out by customers as well. But these are just kind of examples of the vast list of reports that NetSuite does include out of the box. All of these are those NetSuite standard reports that we looked at with that sales by customer. So they're all configurable, all customizable, to your liking, just depending on what you're looking for at the time. The last level of reporting that I'll touch on is what we call a NetSuite saved search. And this is sort of a database query. It's a way for you to set criteria for NetSuite, have it pull information and display it in a way that's useful to you. In this example, I have a report called late sales orders. That is a list of sales orders that had a promise date to a customer that we missed, and it's going to calculate how many days late it is, as well as the customer name and document name. Now, to create a report like this, NetSuite has developed a no-code way for you to create these reports. Under criteria, all you're doing is setting the filters for what data you're looking for out of NetSuite. In this case, we're looking for sales orders that have not been fulfilled and that have a ship date that's between 5 and 50 days past due. Once NetSuite finds all the information that meets those criteria, it presents them to you based on your results that you have selected. So I have my document name, customer name, and amount, and one of these fields you'll notice says custom body. This is a custom field that I've created. Also very easy to do, no coding required. It's the same kind of drop-down functionality that you're seeing here. But any field that you create in NetSuite is just as usable and reportable as an out-of-the-box field. So those inputs generate a report just like this, and some extra kind of features that it provides. You can see I've got different highlighting, filters, coloring, and even symbols. You can filter or you can customize this report all kinds of different ways to make sure that it's displaying information in a way that's helpful to you. And you can also inline edit records directly from saved searches. So you can see I'm actually able to make changes to my custom field here, which is a resolution field where I'm detailing the steps we're taking to resolve these late orders. But instead of having to open each record individually, make that change and click save, I'm able to do it in mass utilizing custom save searches. So those are the multiple different levels of reporting that NetSuite offers. You have your dashboard with all of your summary level information, navigation tools, task lists up front as soon as you log in. You have those multiple hundred standard reports that are all configurable and customizable. And then you have save searches where you can truly generate custom reports, sort, filter, color, and highlight however you need, utilize formulas that can also act as a mass update tool or a mass import export tool. So I want to thank you all for listening. That concludes my demonstration. I appreciate the time. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to your account manager or to this team. And thanks again for listening, everyone.
Perfect. We'll open up for Q&A. I'm sure this was a lot for you guys to also process. So let me go ahead and take a look at the queue. First, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on IHA. Thank you, Steve, for allowing me to have a wonderful conversation and getting to know you as a customer. Pretty sure I'm going to be bugging you about Suite World, so just keep a note of that. I do see some questions here. Let's hit this first one. Steve, how did you know you were ready for an ERP?
My personality is typically not one to define ways to spend money and resources. So I started hearing some rumblings from team members. We've got a lot of fantastic people with great experience at other companies and bigger companies, and just kind of being a little bit insulated in the sense that I'm very involved with Honey Can Do, but I don't have that same experience with other companies. They suggested that we take a look because they knew that things could be done a little bit more efficient and with higher capacity and a little bit more consistently with other ERPs. And so after a period of time of just kind of pushing it off, finally I agreed to take a look and see what improvements we could make. But it was mostly our team members that really pushed the process. And it just reached a point also where we were down with our old ERP system enough, maybe once every other month or so, and it just got to the point where it was unsustainable. It wasn't sustainable.
Yeah, that's dollars every time you guys went down.
Absolutely.
Besides going down and knowing, looking at everything you've been through, what would you have done differently? Or is there any advice you'd give to some of the people who are like considering maybe at the beginning steps of where you're at?
So, I would say it's a huge undertaking. So just make sure that you understand exactly what's involved in the integration and the process and the expenses and everything to get there. And just make sure that the benefits are worth it to do it. And we found folks, NetSuite, as well as others. We're happy to have conversations with us. Obviously, everybody's trying to, their goal is to show you that they're the best and to convince you to make the change. But we found everybody through the process to be incredibly helpful and candid. And telling us where we could improve and where we might not see those improvements. I would say just do your diligence, do your research. in advance. And then once you've made that commitment, get your team members involved in it, and just make sure that everybody has that buy-in and everybody is looking forward to it and understands the benefits of it, because you need everybody involved and everybody excited about it and passionate about it for it to be successful.
Steve's dropping knowledge of like organizational leadership and all of this. Thank you so much, Steve. I don't see any more questions, but I will stay here just in case if we have more. If you have any questions or you're looking for information about NetSuite and how we help your IHA members, feel free to take a look at that website or reach out to us. We are more than happy to get on the phone, talk you through it. Each use case is going to be unique in some capacity, so we're happy to talk through that and help you decide if this is the right direction for you to go. Again, thank you so much. I look forward to what you guys have at the upcoming show. One of my team members will be there, so we'll probably have to say hi and make sure we stop by. But anything you guys need, please reach out. And thank you so much for sharing this beginning of the year with me.
Thank you, everybody. It's been an honor.